Be authentically you. 'Cause now is your season to live out your reason. Just be you. How you gonna leave your imprint on this world?
Well, hey y'all, and welcome to Authentically You Imprint. I am Chris Wilson. I'll be one of your hosts for the Authentically You Imprint segments, the Authentically You Imprint show, and I am so super excited about airing our very first show. But I think it's really important for me to introduce to the world the Authentically You Imprint talk show by giving a little bit of a background on how the things that culminated into our arriving here at this point in time. I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis, and 9 months later, in June of 2013, I was rushed into emergency surgery. You don't go through something that traumatic without and come out on the other side without being changed. Introduced to the world the Authentically You Imprint talk show, the same way you've always done them. So after surgery, I began this quest with the Lord. What is it that you allowed me to remain in this space and time to do? What is the imprint you wanted me to leave on the world? You left me here for a reason. And it was my purpose. It was my intent. It was my call. It was my drive. It was my passion to figure out why. So I started this journey of figuring out, of coming to come into grips with who I am as an individual. So in 2013, I started this quest, and I journal. I have always journaled. I journaled even more after the surgery because I really needed to understand some things. So I asked a lot of questions of the Lord, and a lot of those questions came back to me for me to answer some of those things, following his path as I answered those questions. So in 2016, I started compiling the things that I was journaling into a book because I really needed to capsulize and capture all of the experience of what was going on. So in 2017, I published my first solo project. It's entitled Authentically You, Following Your Own Path. And that the things, the experiences that I went through to bring that book to life helped me along my journey in figuring out the things that that God has placed into my heart to deposit into this world. And that takes me into the vision for Authentically You Imprint. That was a little bit of background. Now we're going to talk about the vision. Because I spent so many years of my life trying to fit into the world's little square box. It's hard to be stuffed into and to be jammed into and fitted into a square when that is not the circumference of who you are. So trying to get into the point where I was comfortable in my own skin. I was okay with who I am. I'm good with who I am. God made me the way that I am. He made all of us the way that we are for a very specific reason, for a very specific purpose. And we have arrived right where we are, right on time, right in time, in God's purposes. We have arrived right where we are on time. So there's nothing that we could have done differently to make us who we are, to make us the very person that God has created and crafted and called us to be for this season, for this hour, for this time of our lives. So the vision of Authentically You Imprint is to shine a spotlight on people who mainstream media would never pick up. There are so many of us out there in our neighborhoods, on our block, in our counties, in our cities, in our states, that are doing some magnificent things mainstream media will never pick up. What we want to do here on the Authentically You Imprint is to shine the spotlight on our friends, our family, our cousins, our uncles, our aunts, our nephews, our friends, those who are connected to us. Let me leave it like that. Those who are connected to us in whatever level of connectivity that they are. We want to shine the spotlight on those people, on you, shine the spotlight on you for doing the magnificent things that you are out there doing, the lives you are impacting, the lives you are changing, the passion with which you live your life, those things that cause you to wake up in the morning and say, I get to do this again. We want to shine the spotlight on that. That's the vision. Now, the mission. How are we going to do that? Well, I've already talked about some of the books that I've written. That's one avenue because, when you talk about being authentically you, it's important that we identify that. And it's important that we shine the spotlight on that. Not necessarily my book, but I want to shine the spotlight on who you are authentically. At your core, who are you? What is your passion? What are you doing? What causes you to leave your imprint in the world? That's one of the methods for which Authentically You imprint will leave its imprint. I guess I'll be saying that a lot. And number two, husband Andy and I, we do a Facebook Live every Wednesday at 5:30. It's called Midweek Motivation. It started out as it sprang forth from the book that I wrote, Being Authentic, and I wanted to motivate people to live out loud in their lane. So over 3 years ago, it started out as that. That's how we jump started Midweek Motivation. It has now turned into a wonderful hour of spiritual inspiration that my husband brings with such passion and such power, until I think that is the flow that we just need to stay in for right now with Midweek Motivation. I absolutely love that. And finally, we have arrived here at Authentically You Imprint. That is the third way, the third method, the third means by which we're going to do what we believe we've been called and created and crafted to do. So here on Authentically You Imprint, we believe that, again, that, 20% of the people are out in the front doing or getting the recognition for what 80% of the people are down in the trenches getting done. So our mission is to seek you out, to get you in front of the camera, to tell the world what it is that you are passionate about, to get your dreams and your goals, your life's mission, your life's call onto the screen so that others can hear you and hear your passion and hear you explain and deliver to us how God has created and crafted and called you to be and the things that he has put into your heart, the passion to do. That is the background, the vision, and the mission of Authentically You Imprint. Now, meet us down in the studio as we begin our interview, as we spotlight our very first guest. Our guest today, Mr. Sean Phillips, is a young man who is passionate about the stock market, about investing, about changing our mindset about stocks and about investing. There are a lot of things that our community just don't consider as it relates to generational wealth and how to build it, how to sustain it, how to pass on information to those coming behind us. Sean Phillips is here with us today, and we will explore this topic, not just today, but he will be back for other interviews with us because this young man has a lot to impart to those of his generation, those coming behind him, and those of us who are ahead of him. So sit back, settle in, and enjoy the conversation. Welcome to Authentically You Imprint. We have Sean Phillips with us. He is the Trader's House. The Trader's House is his brand, is his name. That's who he is. So tell us, who is Sean Phillips?
Sean Phillips is a lover of life. He's a God-fearing man, a God-loving man. Very passionate about teaching and educating and building and helping others grow, guiding others. A man, a thrill seeker, definitely a thrill seeker. Very adventurous, a traveler, family-oriented, friend-oriented, very just passionate about all of that exists around us, like all of that what God created. Sean Phillips is teacher for one. I've taught for 12, 13 years now. Taught in the metropolitan DC area. Just have a real passion for teaching. Also, I think trading came about because I used to trade Pokemon cards when I was younger. So it went from Pokemon cards to investing now. So Sean's just, I love adventure. I love investing. I love helping and working with other people. I love community and learn, just always looking to learn, always a lifelong learner. I think that'd be probably the better word. Dedicated, friend-oriented, family-oriented, and just a lover of life. Yeah, lover of life.
Excellent.
Now, what we're trying to get to is we ourselves have just started in the stock market. As you know, and you're fully aware, as being blacks, we wasn't taught this. So we had no idea. We was spending a bunch of money on dinners and suits and all this other type of stuff, unaware at the time that if we took a little bit and invested it, we would make it. But for our audience, we have a Christian inspirational show. A large group of Christians,
and we don't talk about that.
We don't talk about that in the church. We don't talk about investing and doing all this other type of stuff. So that's one spiritual aspect that we're missing out on, because we're trying to feed the whole man and do every aspect of life. And for blacks, this is a big part that is missing. That's critical. Because I mean, if I had been taught this a long time ago,
we'd be set up.
We'd be set up, retired, and we'd be interviewing you from the beach,
right?
From our beach home.
You know what's interesting? Maybe a year ago, maybe year ago, I was talking to my buddy, and I was just talking, and in the spirit, I got this idea of like, it was like Jesus, right? And it was like, how did he go from one fish, I think, in one loaf of bread, to hundreds, right? And I said to myself, how is that possible? And then all of a sudden I started thinking about investing, right? Like when I invest, I put in, and just like with the fish, if you catch one fish, right, and cut it up into small pieces,
right,
and then cast it back out, right?
Right.
That small piece can yield you one fish back.
Yeah.
So off of one fish, if you cut it into 100 pieces, if you were to cast it out every time, that one fish was able to bring you 100 fish back.
That's good.
And with that mindset, and with my friend who was on the phone, it was the concept of when we do take our money, we put it out there and we bring it back. You can invest into these other different stocks and other different assets that can bring you back more than you cast it back out. And so
absolutely,
I'm gonna use that. That's good right there, Sean. I like that. You catch your first fish, you can either use it as bait,
to catch
to
100
continue
more.
to eat, or you can just eat that fish, and that's all you're gonna have. You got to start all over again.
Right.
If you use that one fish that you have for bait and trust that it's gonna yield,
that's good.
I like that. Yeah, I'm gonna use that. I'm just letting you know right now.
You have my approval.
And we're sold on it, but what good is it being sold, having a secret
and keeping it to ourselves?
That's what the black community has suffered from.
Yeah.
And with investing, it will overwhelm you. Like, I'm not sure how deep in the rabbit hole you went with investing, but there's certain investments like options, right? And those scenarios where you have an investment and you have a 300% day in options, those are those opportunities where I've taught for 12 years now. I've seen some people who are living in very bad situations, right? And I say to myself, for small investments, this, especially like in options, $100 could yield you $200, $300, $400 sometimes in a day.
Yes.
And this is what we did talk about, having the mindset. Like you have to have the mindset because greed will take over.
Right.
Lack of rules will take over. Sometimes I've seen people, you make, $1,000 or $2,000 and then you're instantly trying to trade, and then that $2,000 that you made is now $200 because the trade that you jumped into wasn't
exactly
good. You know, so it's a lot of the mindset and the psychology, and that's one thing that they do talk about with trading and investing. It's a psychology first, and a mindset first, and then after that, the world is yours.
Excellent. You know, when you say you are adventurous and that you are a thrill seeker, then what actually motivates you?
New challenges, new goals, different, I guess, ideas or concepts I haven't done, or that I might be fearful of to some degree. But yeah, my fear is like I chase fear by finding the evidence that's actually real in it. I don't run from things. I kind of get closer to them, which might be a good thing, might be a bad thing. But just kind of pushing the envelope on doing new things and thinking outside the box.
Awesome. Awesome. So with the your brand being the Trader's House, that kind of gives us an inside track to what you're passionate about.
Yeah. Well, just trading and stocks and investing, I don't know. It really fills me up. And not just the stocks and the trading, just being able to research and read and like find different stocks and look at different patterns and learn different strategies and work with others to find different stocks and investments. That's one of the things that it fills me every day. Like I literally can wake up, and then also seeing green, many times of the day helps as well.
That's a huge motivator, right?
You know what? I think the best thing about it is it's almost as if you're rewarded for the work that you actually do put in. And I know that some people can get lucky; they could just put the money in a particular stock here and there. But for at least me, for all of the research that I do and combing through the desert that I do, it does feel good to be rewarded in that sense.
Awesome.
So, Sean, exactly. I mean, here's the elephant in the room. Okay, being a black man, what led you into trading? I mean, when I came up, it was more popular to buy Jordans than it was to invest my money in something that I was taught that only pretty much, white people or other people of other cultures did. As a black man, what got you where you are?
Okay, so this is authentically me. When I was younger, very smart kid, but just, I'm not sure, you're young and just, I got in trouble. And I was in school and I really didn't have any money. And I knew that I could go back to the old ways of doing things, but that was no fun. No fun seeing my mother and talking to her through a plexiglass and those types of things. So I just went on, I think, Ask Jeeves. And I said, like, how do I make money? Like, how do I make money? I almost want to say, I think I said legally. And it said something about penny stocks. And the first thing that it came up was like 600%. And I was like, I knew one thing. I'm really good at math. So I said 600%. I'm like, I'll put 1,000, that's 6,000. I was like, let me just click on this link. So I clicked on the link, and on the page it had all these different stocks and these ticker symbols that, some of them were up for the day and some of them were down for the day. But since they were penny stocks, I saw the percentages. And, if you go from 1 cent to 2 cents, that's 100%.
Right.
So if you go from 1 cent to 7 cents and you see 700%, you're saying to yourself, if I would have put $100 and I'd have been $700, it was all I needed. And with my curiosity, my just passion for learning and reading, I was there all night. Like I literally, when the janitor came to Bowie State, I think it was the MLK building, the guy was like, yeah, so we have to close, but I couldn't leave. And then the next day in the morning, as soon as it opened, I was there.
Awesome.
I was there.
Awesome. So hearing that is encouraging, because I mean, I'm trying to figure out, we as black men, how do we, I mean, what you said was encouraging, because I mean, most of us who grew up in poverty or grew up in neighborhoods, stock market and trading is not anything that we would ever thought of. I mean, what you just said, the math is better than the street.
Exactly.
You know, when you talk 700%, I mean, you know, back in the day, you know, you have to invest a little bit. You're gonna make some, which is probably about 60 to 80% of your input. But when you talk 700% and things like that, it is absolutely mind blowing.
Yes.
And this is where we're trying to go to encourage, you know, our people, even, you know, in churches and everywhere else that we teach young Black people. We want to teach them to tie a tie, but we don't want to teach them to make money.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I think we go after the wrong things, and that's probably the way we've been programmed. So we've been programmed to teach the things that don't matter, really. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't have to wear a tie if you're making that type of money. You get to choose, you know, what you gonna wear, a shirt, sweatshirt, or suit, and you're still making money, and it's legal. So
distraction, as long as you're distracted, it takes you away from what's most important.
Absolutely.
Right.
Keep moving. So, what does the Trader's House represent? Tell us all about the Trader's House and how did that come about?
I think okay, so the Trader's House came about. It was just something that was on my mind for a while, and because when I first started trading, more heavily, like day trading and swing trading, instead of like investing, because investing I started in college. But maybe 6 years later, I started doing day trading and swing trading. And I met a young man on Instagram, and we formed a friendship, and he was saying to me, he said, you know, you should join my group. I think I can get you in. You won't have to pay the $40 a month. You know, you're my friend. I'll get you in, you know. So he got me in, and I was introduced to this community where there was all these people, like 300, 400 people, and they were all talking about different stocks. They were like, had just like motivation and good quotes and like uplifting. And, you know, people were showing their gains. And, you know, if you posted a different stock, like, you know, one particular guy said, you know, look at the RSI. The RSI is kind of high, would probably wait. So being in that group, it inspired me. It was like, whoa. And the guy ultimately, I think over time, I think he either switched to a different platform. But ever since I was introduced to it, I was like, wow. And I was like, there's no group like that in my community. Like, there's no one that I know that's doing this. Like, when I talk to my friends, like, they're talking about what LeBron James is doing. They're online saying that the new Jordan 11s are coming out. And I'm like, that's cool. We could talk about that. But if we had our own community, that we could talk about stocks, you know, we could talk about cryptocurrency. We could talk about these things that do matter. You know, they do matter. And the thing is, if we take the same research and the skill sets that we're using to know that the Jordan 11s are coming out January 1st at 1 p.m. at this store, if we know and use those same skills, then you can tell me that Pfizer is going to be releasing a vaccine December 15th.
Exactly.
And the UK has approved it, and it might be a good reason why you might want to buy it. So those same skill sets, it's the same that get you paid.
That's amazing. That is awesome.
Yeah. So in other words, let me interpret this for the church people. So in other words, you said that you went to a group that the whole group, you know, all these people sitting around, 300 some people sitting around talking about trading and stocks, and that was their conversation. Okay, for the church people, they overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of their testimony. And Martin Luther King said we shall overcome. Everybody took that tag and we marched for it. We shall overcome. We shall overcome. And regardless of how it is, we've still been behind in our investment and everything because nobody showed us how to overcome. I love Dr. King. I love all our freedom fighters, and they taught us how to fight for freedom, but they did not teach us how to stay free. And they did not teach us financial freedom.
Right.
And without financial freedom, we are not even mentally free.
Right.
We're always bound because the Bible tells us that whoever we owe money to, we're enslaved to. So we are enslaved by the fact that we have not been given the opportunity to sit around and talk about investment, for somebody to seriously sit down and say, listen, this is how we do it. This is how we do it. Just do this. If you just do that, and it's not necessarily an easy road,
right?
But it's the path that's been set by America and the world, the standard for making money. And we have been kept out of it because of our race and because of our upbringing that's now becoming open. So if we're going to overcome, I'm trying to tell y'all now, Sean is telling y'all how to overcome, how we're going to really overcome, how we're going to be free, so that the next time we march downtown, I can march downtown not worried about whether my mortgage is going to be paid because I had to take a day off work. So these are the type of things that we're trying to get free from. It's a mindset that we must free ourselves. In order to be free, we must be able to sustain ourselves financially. If we don't do that, then we're going to resort back to looting and rioting and things like that because we don't understand the principles of properly making money.
And so with that, Sean, talk about the whole mindset behind investing and bringing people out of, the fear of the risk. And I think that's where people of my age group and even of our race, probably the thing that stops us from investing is the fear. It's a risk. And I don't want to risk my hard-earned money by investing in the stock market. So talk to us about that mindset that has to shift, the mindset that has to change in order to begin to create generational wealth.
So I want to share this with you. So I did write a book a while back. I'm going to actually do it again. So just what I'm saying, I've noticed that fear, right? Fear is probably the number one thing that holds most people back, right? And because of that fear, a lot of times people will say, yeah, I can lose money investing. But the opposite side is that you could also gain.
Exactly.
So to limit those losses or to limit that risk, I would always recommend education, because the more that you know, the less that you'd have to fear. Because if you know that you can set like stop losses in the market, then it will prevent you from losing a certain amount. I'll lose $10 or $20 and then be able to reinvest it if it goes 5 or 10% down or lower. And then as it rises, then I make a profit. So more of the education and the learning, I think, is one of the keys to investing. You have to be a lifelong learner. Can't be prideful. You can't have the mindset of being wrong, because you'll be wrong. You'll be wrong. There are certain stocks that I've seen literally have great earnings, everything, and then the next day they're down. But because of that, if you're not with the right mindset and or sometimes emotional, because that's the thing too, in depending on if you're doing long-term investing, it's a little different, but not so much. But emotions play a big toll on you in the market. And that's one of the things that they talk about the most, like the psychology and the emotions behind trading. Some people see the stocks down 5% and they sell, and then the next day they're up 20 or 30%. So those things, as far as like thinking, wanting to learn, reading. I also say being able to, how do I say this? Not be greedy. Okay, can I give you an example that I'm working on now? If I had, let's just say you joined the Trader's House, and I gave you a reward, right? Let's just say that the reward is two boxes on one side, okay? And whatever's inside of it, it's yours, okay? And on the other side, let's say gift B is just one of these. And whatever's inside of it is yours. Which one would you rather take? The side with the one box or the side with the two boxes?
2 boxes.
Okay, two boxes.
Naturally, most would go for the 2 boxes. I'm not a natural person. I would assume the most valuable is in the one.
Well, you know why in the one it's most valuable? Because before you had nothing. So you don't lose anything by gaining.
Exactly.
Right.
But with the 2, if I put in, let's just say, a $5 gift card in both boxes, that's a total of $10. But imagine if I put $100 in the one box.
The one box.
And it's just that mindset of thinking that just because sometimes there's more shares that you can buy more shares, doesn't mean that it might be better than the stock that over time just continues to rise.
Nice.
So being able to really think through things and kind of limit the emotions and put more of the logic in there, and just wanting to look and wanting to read and wanting to know, I think it pays off.
Excellent. So how long have you been doing this?
I started off at Bowie State in 2007.
Awesome.
You know what my first stock was?
What?
It's almost parallel to what's going on now. What was the big crisis that happened in America?
Oh, when Obama took over and we were in the financial crisis.
Yep, in the housing market.
Right.
Plummeted. I had found through all this research that I'd done after learning about penny stocks, I had found Fannie Mae. And Fannie Mae, just maybe 6 months before, was at $60. I found Fannie Mae at 30 cents. And I bought Fannie Mae while I was in school and working at a school as an instructional assistant to become a teacher. I had $800 and I bought at 30 cents and I had enough shares in like the next year or two, it was at like $2 or $3, from 30 cents.
Wow.
So that was big for me because,
yes.
And I'll tell you the one that really, I really regret it. Sirius Radio was I think at 3 cents or 4 cents. And it went to like $5. I think it went to $5. So 5 goes into what, $1.20 times? It's almost 100 times. So almost a simple $1,000 would have been almost 100,000. And even in this opportunity here with COVID and everything, there was many stocks and many opportunities to get in things in March and April, and even still now. So there's always opportunity, always opportunity. And
perfect.
So when we say fear, I mean, we really got to understand that I still believe that it is, even for us older Black people, it's a mindset, it's condition that we have been placed into. So check this out. Whenever we go sign up for our 401k, they give us high risk, moderate risk, low risk. But they look at our age and they condition us not to take risks. So they say, okay, based upon your age, there's no way I would go to the high risk. We recommend this for people that are 20, 30 years old, whatever the case may be. And we're taught not to invest without any risk because we just got to say safe. We got to say safe. Our money got to go there. And several times the stock market went crazy.
Yes.
And the 401k went crazy. And we lost money based upon what they told us. Now, we do understand that if we had been in more high risk, we would have got more stock. We didn't really lose money if we stayed there because we still got the same amount of shares. But if we were at a higher risk, we would have got more shares than we got at a moderate risk. So they condition us not to take risks. When every other day we take risks on everything else.
Everything.
Every time we choose to buy simple stuff, we take risks on buying a TV, a smart TV, that in 2 years is no good because it's not 4K or whatever it is they do now.
Right.
So it's what we're trying to project is it's to use the same trust that we use every time we sit in church, every time we talk to God. Trust that God will give us the wisdom to invest, but at the same time, we know that we have to invest. In order to get anything out, you got to put it in. The lesson was taught, and Jesus taught the lesson himself. He said, listen, he gave one man 10 talents, gave another 5, gave another 2, and gave the stupid one, and he went and buried it.
He went and buried it.
And the others went and invested and bought back double what it was. And when he came back to the man, he said, you wicked. Because don't you know that if you had just took my money and gave it to the bank, the bank would have gave you a simple interest, which would have gave you more than you gave me back. You only gave me back what I gave you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? When society is out there multiplying and everything, you just afraid to get in the game. In other words, it's not, you wasn't smart, you wasn't wise. And this is what Jesus said.
Right.
And this was about investing.
Exactly.
This was about investing. We as church people, we've been doing the same thing. We've been burying the little one coin that we got.
Taking a burying.
And it ain't doubling, it ain't doing nothing. We take a risk of it corroding in the ground. More than we do if we just set it in the bank. Right. So the fear that we talk about is unrealistic, something that we have to overcome. Again, we have to overcome that And in order to advance, we got to take some chances.
We have to.
Yeah, and it's stepping out the box. I mean, when you have like 401k, on that side I can understand, but there's this other element of you can actually control and dictate what you do. You know, if you decide to look into Carnival Cruises or Apple, you can buy stocks, you can buy options, you can buy cryptocurrency. You have that option, you know, and I think it's for certain people, they have to have exposure to it. You know, I was exposed to seeing that something went up 600%. And after that, it was all on me. I had to read. I had to continue with that curiosity. And then for other people, it's just, I'm not sure. Maybe it's just because being able to step into that space where you want to learn more and you in research, I think that's the key part. Because you will see that there's other things there's other concepts and ideas that are out here.
Absolutely. And I think one of the thing that gave me a little bit of comfort, because I came kicking and screaming because I was afraid of losing my money, right? So, but the thing that brought me a little bit of comfort was the 401k and that the fact that I could do some of my own trading from that, you know, inside my 401k. I mean, it is my money, so I can decide, you know, where I want it to go. And that is what got me really engaged into the stock market and just taking a little bit of risk. And of course, I started very small. And I think that's what people need to know. You don't have to, you know, take all of your money, and you don't have to sell your house. You don't have to do any of that. You can start small.
You know what? And that's why I think I want to be one of the representatives of this, of trading and investing, because there's a lot of misconceptions. One, you don't even have to invest your money to begin. You do simulation accounts. Most of my students, I put them on simulation accounts. You know, they can sign up for TD Ameritrade. TD Ameritrade will have you have a live account, which is your real money, but then you can also switch over and log into a simulation account that funds your account, but it's not real. But then you can practice trading. You know, you can journal, you know, what your gains are and what your losses are. You know, you can track what the stock did. So you're not just jumping in and saying, oh, I lost $30. I'm not going to do this anymore.
Right.
You know, because that's what happens for some people. They jump in one time, they really don't know what they're doing. They see something that they don't like. And then once that happens, they're scarred. They're not coming back. They're moving on. Instead of having the knowledge or mentors or individuals that they can come to say, okay, you're supposed to go to a simulation first. You know?
Awesome. So you give people a sense of comfort and a sense of security. You are like you're like a student's safety net, because they can always come to you and ask you questions. They're in class with you. What is the Trader's House? Is it a training institute? What is it?
So first it was a community, but it goes back to our community, right? I noticed that with our community, which is much different from other communities, our community, the individuals that I was attempting to recruit didn't have any knowledge in the sport, you know? And if I go to Instagram and I post something about trading or investing, there's going to be a lot of individuals, but they're not going to be from my community. They'll join my group and they'll pay $20, $30, $40, but they have the knowledge. And our community doesn't have the knowledge. So I'd start a community, and a lot of people were in the community, but they had no knowledge. So just recently, not too long ago, we started an academy, the Trader's House Academy, that's actually going to be online, that people can sign up for. They can go through the courses. And the first one is going to be a lot of mindset, a lot of just getting those emotions and the logic and the understanding of stocks and how they move and share structure and those things. And then after, I thought it would be wise that then once you come out and you're well equipped, then you can join that community. Because then when someone says, hey guys, I'm looking at ACB calls for December 18th at $45, you're not saying, what are they talking about?
Right.
Like, you're looking in, you're saying, oh, I like those calls too. I'm jumping in, I'm going to buy those for December 18th. So it's now an academy, and we have a community. But we like for many of the members to start off in the academy first, so that when they do get to the community, they're well equipped.
So Sean, all right, now we got people that are listening who are new to this. They're like getting excited because you get ready to make them some money. You get ready to tell them how to do the thing, man. I mean, they're changing their mindset. They're listening. They're saying, man, this is good. Now, what I don't want them to do is go to the internet and go to Instagram, like you said, and then start YouTubing all these traders and all this other type of stuff, and get taken in and overwhelmed with information. You know what I'm saying? To where, you know, they like what you're saying, they're understanding what you're saying, and they're ready to make that move. If they're ready to make that move and they say, man, Trader's House is the play. John, what are the perks they're getting from Trader House?
Okay. Well, if you join the Trader's House, the community, for one, it's amazing. We have some really, really amazing members. One member in particular, Jay buys the dip, really good with technical analysis, really good with charts. Normally we have like once a week, we have on different days, different topics and discussions, because in the community, you have channels, and channels allow you to talk about different stocks. And like I have a channel for stocks, I have a channel for cryptocurrency, I have a channel for Forex, we have a general chat. We have, when we're live trading, like a channel that you can go in and you can see us live trading. So there's a lot of different channels that you can grab information for or just see what's going on. And then we have chat rooms that allow you to do exactly what we're doing now, like visually see each other, hear each other orally. And what we do is we share our screen many times. So Jay buys a dip, shares the screen, I share my screen. So if I'm kind of going over maybe RSI, or if I'm talking about how I screen and find different stocks, I share my screen with other members, and other members are able to join in, watch the video, hear the discussions. Wednesday, I think we're looking at doing like penny stock Wednesdays and then stock talk Sundays. So different days. So you have we have bots also. I'm so sorry, almost forgot the bots. So on my Discord server, let's just say you're looking at Pfizer and you want to know what's going on with Pfizer, right? Many people are going to have to go to Google. They're going to have to type in Pfizer. Different articles are going to come up. In my Discord, on my server, you're able to actually see the news that's posted when you put a command in. So if you put a command in like $news, PFE, it will post. So there's a lot of different, how do I say this, features and benefits of the group. The Academy, we're just going to have a full course outline from beginning to end on Trading 101. It's going to really talk about the mindset first and really just looking at how everything that we do is trading. And I don't think that's one of the things that we really realize, that everything that we do is revolved around trading. Now, when you go to a gas station, someone buys a gallon of gas for $2.69, someone else decides to go down the street and get it for $2.45. So we're trading even then. So,
so Sean, I hear what you're saying. I like what you're saying. Now, my concern is, say I ain't did no trading, haven't been the best at finance and stuff, but I want to take a chance. Okay, but now you talking about trading and all this stuff. I'm scared whether it takes some type of credit. Is it going to run a credit check on me? All this type of stuff. But I want to become a member. But, I'm fearing that every time I hit something on the internet, they either want to do a credit check, they want a viable credit card instead of a cash, cash card, or whatever the case might be. Exactly how do I become a member?
To become a member, you actually just go to www.thetradershouse.com. And on there, we have the Academy that you just click on the button and it will take you to the Academy. And we have the Trading 101 course right now. It just starts with the mindset and it just kind of goes through enough courses and chapters where you're able to make your first trade and have enough where you'll be equipped to make your first trade.
Awesome. Give us that website again, please.
www.thetradershouse.com.
Awesome. And so you did talk about other social media platforms that you talk about stocks, like Instagram.
Well, we post every so often on Instagram, but a lot of our community is really on Discord.
Okay.
It's a server that I created, and that's really the platform that we use as far as our community.
Awesome. Okay.
So what type of advice would you give me? I'm listening to you. I'm fresh. I'm just starting. I want to get into trading. What type of advice would you give me to
someone just starting to trade for the first time?
Okay. I would say really just understand the market. Understand like shares. Understand what increases the price of a stock, what would decrease the price of a stock. Being willing to just do research. I think that's one of the keys, just research and just being willing, to stay up a little late if you have to, just to read. Not letting emotions and greed control you. So be, very logically sound. Try to remove the emotions. And I would also say when just beginning, start off with a simulation. Practice. Getting the hang of the tools that you have. Understand a market order. Understand a limit order. Understand a buy and the ask. Because the last thing you want to do is lose money. So really just get the fundamentals and just the basics of the market.
So you just scared me again.
That scares you. Well, I'll give you one. I'll just give you one. Then.
You just scared me again. So my question is I know once I get into it and I like it and everything, most likely, I make a couple dollars. I'm gonna want to be that morning person with the coffee and the stock page, going through it. But right now, stock page is kind of frightening to me because I got all these numbers that I don't understand, all these things that ups and down charts that I have no clue. So me starting out. So my best thing for me to do is to contact you, and then when you say educate myself, are you going to give me the basis for education when I join the traders? Are you going to walk me through it to say, this is how you understand this and this is how you understand that?
Yes. So when you join the academy, so the academy is all online. And so all of the access is online. The community, though, if you, once finishing with the academy, you come to the community is there for, really, we're a community. So we're there to help each other. We're there to work with each other. So if you did have some complications or were confused about something, then the community is there to be able to help you.
So there are no dumb questions in the community?
Absolutely not. Absolutely.
So, and impress me. Give me 5 tips to make me a successful trader.
Okay. My first tip might be just don't let greed overtake you. Okay. Right? Don't let greed overtake you. It overtakes many. It overtakes many. 2, have just discipline. I would say just discipline. Have discipline. Whether it's waking up in the morning to research or that you're going to sell a stock at this particular price, stay pretty disciplined. To be successful, allow your money. Don't attempt. Well, not to say don't attempt, but just don't try to rush it. It's okay for it to slowly build and slowly accumulate. 4th, which is probably number 1 to me, have a stop loss. It depends kind of on what you're trading, but for the most part, even if you're long-term investing, if you're swing trading, or if you're day trading, have a stop loss. Because even in the scenario of like COVID this year, there are many people who, were in Carnival Cruises or Apple that were at these high prices, and a stop loss prevents it from going below that price. So if you set it at $100 and Apple's at 120, it will sell it or attempt to sell it at $100. So, that limits you instead of it going to $40. And, so setting a stop loss and having stop losses setting. And number 5, and last one, just having a plan set up. And it goes kind of back to the stop loss. Like if you're going to buy Apple at 100, what price would you sell it at if it does drop? So I'll sell it at $80. And if it goes to 140 or 150, I'll sell it there. So you have your plan pretty much set up.
Awesome. This has been really, a knowledgeable conversation. I think a lot of people are going to learn a lot from what we've talked about tonight. So what is the future for Trader's House? Where do you see yourself going with this?
One of the directions I see us going in, because I taught for 12 years, and last year or the year before, I had a group of mentees at Howard University Middle School, and for that 20 or 30-minute block, a lot of times I would teach them how to be a man, because they were all young boys, be a man and investing. And to my surprise, the last day of school, graduation, a parent asked to speak with me. And I was like, oh no, I don't know what's going on. So he said, Mr. Phillips, I want to speak to you, and I want to say thank you. And I was like, this is my job. And he said, no, you did a great job on that. He said, but I want to thank you because I made 40% this year. I'm like, what? I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's like, yeah, my son Kashif came home and he continuously talks about stocks and stocks and stocks. And he told us about a particular stock that you had recommended. And, after looking at it, I decided to get it, and 40%. And it kind of dawned on me that many of the students that I'm teaching are going back home teaching their parents about that. And I didn't get an opportunity to learn about stocks when I was in middle school or high school. So one of the directions that I see us going in is starting to take our course and our curriculum to schools. So middle schools, high schools, even college, and just starting to introduce it to those students and those pupils, and allowing them to be exposed to it. And of course, when you have homework and you have courses, your parents also see them as well.
Yeah.
So that's one of the directions.
Awesome. That is super exciting. Oh my God. To have it in middle school and high school, that is life-changing. That is total generational change right there, and I am excited about that.
And we're looking forward to an ongoing relationship, Sean, and we're looking forward to many, many more interviews. We're looking forward to making this a part of the segment, because we're really interested in bringing education not only to the Black community, but to any community who have suffered because of lack of knowledge. The Bible says, my people perish because of lack of knowledge. Here we go today. We done brought you all this knowledge, and you looking to make money. And listen to the young people that's listening to us. Take this example. You don't have to be out on the street taking risks. You're taking more risk on the street than you would if you trade. Listen, your risk of loss is greater on the street if the police stop you and take your product. And your product is gone and you lost all your money.
Yes.
This way you're working legal.
And your freedom.
And your freedom is there, and you have freedom of mind. Listen, young man, you're a math genius.
Yes.
You got things going for you. Already know the system. All you have to do is change your mindset and apply it to something that nobody can touch you because it's legal. And to us who are older, we're learning. We're learning, and we're looking forward to our relationship with the Trader House, and it's never too late. If you're watching this Authentically You imprint segment, we're happy to bring this to you. Not only we're happy to bring this to you, we're going to be getting in relationship with Sean, and if we lose money, we're going to tell you. We're going to tell you. We're going to let the whole world know.
Whole world know.
And the good thing about it is that there is acceptable loss. The Bible tells us that we ought to be adventurous. We ought to be investors. And at the same time, it tells us the same thing that Trader House is telling us, that greed is not a good thing in any aspect of life. You have to limit yourself, and you have to restrain yourself, and learn to discipline yourself. Well-disciplined, trained person can make plenty of money and provide all you need. And this is what God is doing. He has opened up an opportunity that you've been asking for, and that you've been asking, begging God for, and it's been there all the time, except you've been locked out. You've been locked out for some reason or another. The doors are being slung wide open, and you have a tutor. Not only a tutor, check this out. This man is an educator.
Yes. He's a young educator.
He's no fool. He's a young man who is an educator, who has committed his life, who has already admitted to you that he's already made mistakes. And he's corrected those mistakes. And what's the better person to teach you is somebody that's already been where you've been and going in the right direction. Listen, be authentically you. Authentically You is not the streets. Authentically You is not wasting your money all over the place, whether you be young or old, whether you be Christian or not. It's just crazy to waste your money. It's crazy to sit in church and continue to pray to God for deliverance and pray to God to bring you an answer and for a solution for your financial problem. And when He brings it to you and you hear, watch it, Authentically You imprint, and then you walk away and go back next Sunday and pray for God to give you an answer again. I tell you what, tune in again, and we'll give you the same answer and tell you that God is answering your prayer. He said, contact the Trader House.
Go to the Trader's House, www.thetradershouse.com.
Information is there. To be authentically you, we not only want to feed you spiritually, but naturally. Okay, it doesn't make no difference. Our job as Christians is to live the life, not to enforce the life on anybody. And to be a good representative of Christ, you must be wise in your investments and all this other type of stuff, and you must be open to being educated. And if you're not open to be educated, I don't know how in the world you can say you're anything like God, because God's knowledge is way beyond, and we have not touched. We have not touched the smallest bit of His knowledge.
Yeah,
He opens it up to us, and it's in an area of finances, and we walk away thinking that that's not the answer. What I like you to know is that we shall overcome.
Yes.
And if we're going to overcome, we must overcome and have money in our pockets. So when we get ready to go wherever we're coming from, we can afford it.
We can afford it. Yeah. So this has been a super rewarding, Sean.
Yes.
I'm so grateful for the introduction to you and to the Trader's House and to your excitement. I see just talking about this brings you to life. I mean, your face shines, you light up just talking about this. So this is a passion of yours and we need it. So thank you so much for this interview.
Listen, go to the information that we're going to place here on the screen, and trust me, if he's on this show, you can trust him.
He's been vetted.
Okay, you can trust him. If you can't, I know where to find him. I got somebody that can put their hands on him right away.
But now I fear. Okay, now I fear.
And we'll give you a chance. We'll really give you a chance to open up about your book. Can you send us a picture of the copy of the book so that we can?
If I was going to say, so this copy, and this was just one of the things I had on my bucket list. I just wanted to write a book. Like I said to myself, one day I'm gonna pass, but if I can leave some of my gifts in this world, whether it's the ideas on stocks and education and being a man, those things, I want just to leave those gifts. So I want to do this again. So I want to do this book again. And I'm trying to work on the psychology of a trader, that book. Because I've noticed that with trading, and it's going to be new, it's going to be different. Trading stocks and cryptocurrency, that's not what it is. It's how you look at life. You know, like I said, certain people are going to look and say, it's $2.69 for this gas, but right down the street, it's $2.50. You know, and being able to make those good decisions, whether it's with your partner, you know, the one that's loving and caring and makes you feel good, and then there's another one that doesn't. So all of it's trading. It's all around us.
All of it.
And that's the same way it is with the market. People don't understand that you buy according to what you can afford.
Yeah.
You know, and you live life according to what you can afford. People that can afford gas for $3.50 when it's $1.50 across the road, we'll pay it.
They'll pay it. Absolutely.
You know.
All right. Any parting words?
No, it was amazing. I tell you this, I've been looking forward to this because I know that God has been working and showing himself. And I didn't really get to say that in the video, but I do want to just definitely give credit to God. I've been noticing that reciprocation, like anything that happens to me, I give it to God. And I noticed that I think God's saying, hey, if that's the case, and if I keep giving you stuff, you're just going to give it to me anyway. So I just really want to say thank you to God. And God has been really showing himself this week. Yeah. And that's kind of the issue. And I have to be honest, I said it to myself today. And this was actually with my own father, because my father, he was really in investing, but he never kind of showed it to me. And it was through my own that I found it. But that's one of the things, and that's why I said I would love to go into the school systems, because it's sometimes a little bit more challenging to get to adults, because a lot of times we're just set in our ways.
Absolutely.
You know? But for the children, and a lot of times if you know what to say to them, like my students didn't really want to hear me at first. You know how I hooked them?
How's that?
Talk about what they like.
Yes.
Fortnite.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a stock. They're owned by someone. So once I said I would have gave you $100 if you would have told me about Fortnite when it first came out. And they're like, why is that? And I said, well, I would have made X amount. And they said, what? I said, yeah, you could have had your parents put in this money, and then you could have had all the Jordans that you wanted. And now they're like, oh, and then research and
right.
Awesome. Well, we have thoroughly enjoyed this conversation.
Likewise.
And I'm gonna to join us at the proverbial table. Contact us here, Chris@ChristineWilson.net.